There's an unwritten understanding that intelligent, informed, educated people will hold certain views. And one of those views is the trans ideology. People who question, people who challenge are marginalized or worse. People want to keep their jobs. People want their careers. And I'm sad to say that a lot of my colleagues really are lacking in the area of courage.
If everyone is thinking alike, then somebody is not thinking. Yet today, if you dare to think in a way that is contrary to the left, the woke, the LGBTQI, then your thinking is wrong.
I never thought that the shirt I wore to school on March 21st would lead me to speak with you today. I was told that I would need to remove my shirt before I could return to class. What did my shirt say? 5 simple words. There are only 2 genders. I have been told that my shirt was targeting a protected class. Who is this protected class? Are their feelings more important than my rights? I don't complain when I see pride flags and diversity posters hung throughout the school, because others have a right to their beliefs just as I do. I feel like these adults were telling me that it wasn't okay for me to have an opposing view. Their arguments were weak, in my opinion. I know that I have a right to wear a shirt with those 5 words. Even at 12 years old, I have my own political opinions, and I have a right to express those opinions. This right is called the First Amendment to the Constitution.
So it appears that only the children who think like the LGBTQI have rights, and everyone else who dares to think in a contrary way does not deserve to be protected. As if that's not enough, the children who do think like the LGBTQI, the woke, the left, should not tell their parents that this is their way of thinking.
Jessica Tapia was fired as a teacher from Harupa Valley High School for refusing to hide students' gender preferences from parents.
If I were to ever find out about a student's gender or pronoun preference, that I was to withhold that from parents. Said, "Are you asking me to lie to parents?" And they said, "Yes, we are talking about minors. Their brain is not fully developed. The decision-making portal in that brain it's not fully developed, and they need their parents at this time for everything they're going through, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, you name it."
Parents should absolutely be involved in all the decisions that their kids make.
We're going to need a damn good lawyer.
So this is how it works. The first thing is children's thinking should line up with LGBTQI. Secondly, children whose thinking is lining up with LGBTQI should not inform their parents that this is how they're actually thinking. And thirdly, parents who realize that their children are not up to speed, they are not thinking in a woke and a left and an LGBTQI manner, take it upon themselves to get their children up to speed.
White people that aren't like serial killers like Ted Bundy.
Does your mom say you have to be LGBT?
No.
I think she's what I want to be, but
Go ahead, Lex. Go ahead. Keep talking. Say what you're saying.
My mom doesn't matter if I am gay or lesbian or any of that. She doesn't care. All she cares about is that I'm a part of it. And if I'm not a part of it, she'll try to convince me to join it.
What? Are you saying right now?
Facts.
That I would convince you to join what?
The LGBTQIA plus community.
And if you or your children do not fall under any of the 3 above mentioned categories, please be careful, because simply watching television in your own house, your own television that you are paying for, might result in subtle and unwanted conversion.
Here's executive producer LaToya Raveneau, and here she is. Listen.
It's like, I love Disney's content. I grew up watching, all of the classics. They have been a huge, informative part of my life. But at the same time, I worked at small studios most of my career, and I'd heard, you hear whispers. I'd heard things like, they won't let you show this at a Disney show. And I'm like, okay. So I was a little sus when I started. But then my experience was bafflingly the opposite of what I had heard on my little pocket of Proud Family Disney TVA. the showrunners were super welcoming. Meredith Roberts and like our leadership over there has been so welcoming to like my like not at all secret gay agenda. And so like I feel like I felt like it was, I mean, like maybe it was that way in the past, but I guess like something must have happened in the last like they're turning it around. They're going hard.
Now, she says Disney is going hard on the gay agenda.
And if you're still not convinced, listen to the LGBTQI telling you themselves what their agenda is.
Yeah, they're admitting it. They're coming for your children. Nothing to see here, no problems. Why can't kids be kids? Why is it that drag queens only want to read to young children? Why don't they go to the senior citizens and read to them?
And to those of you who are watching, whether parents or children, you watching genuinely not knowing what is right, what is wrong, what to accept, what to discard, you're just not sure anymore. Let's hear it from a seasoned doctor.
Listen, you have to do what's right. I know too much to not do anything about this. I know what kids are going through. I know that 13-year-old girls are having their breasts removed. Minor boys are being castrated. We can't accept it, and we can't be complicit in the lie by staying silent. Many of these kids have other issues going on. Okay, they have what's called comorbidities. So aside from the gender confusion that they may have, they also might be anxious or depressed or on the autistic spectrum. Of great concern is the fact that at many gender clinics and other professionals' offices, even if they're not within a gender clinic, but so-called gender experts may not be sufficiently exploring those things. It's critical to be looking at those other issues that they have and not just to be automatically putting them onto an assembly line, the transgender assembly line, that this is what's going on with you. You need to be socially affirmed. You need to go in the direction of hormones possibly, and then that gets into all the other medicalization. The child is focused on what they want at the moment. And what they want at that moment so much is to be a guy, to be a girl, because they have the idea that when they go into this new identity, they'll be able to leave their problems behind. Life will be better. In no other field of medicine would we put the child in a position of making medical decisions. And yet that is actually what's happening. We know from earlier studies, from the kids that develop gender dysphoria when they're 4 years old, 6 years old, before puberty, that an average of 80% when they go through natural puberty, they reach a point of acceptance of their bodies. They don't need the hormones and the surgeries. That's a piece of information that my colleagues are not giving parents and are not giving kids. It's malfeasance. The transgender path is a difficult path, and it's a path of many lifelong appointments with doctors. Once you are on puberty blockers, there's a close to 100% chance, 98% chance that after those puberty blockers, you will go on to cross-sex hormones. And the cross-sex hormones are going to cause irreversible physical changes, and they're going to make reproduction impossible. They're going to sterilize the child. And we have to recognize this path. People change, and certainly kids change, and certainly adolescence, normal puberty causes massive changes, not only physically, but emotionally and cognitively. Allow that child to go through normal puberty.
Remember, if everyone is thinking alike, then somebody is not thinking. Do not be afraid to hold on to a different way of thinking, especially if that way of thinking protects you and protects your children from the hypocrisy and the dangerous agenda of the left, the LGBTQI, and the woke.
These professionals have the arrogance, really, I have to call it arrogance, to tell parents that they don't know their child, they know better, after meeting with their child for a half an hour or 45 minutes, or even 3 or 4 times. They know better than the parents do, and the parents better get with the program, because they're the ones that are going to harm their child. Now, that's pretty traumatic for parents to hear. And then they go home in shock, and they might talk to a friend or a relative, and sometimes that friend or relative will agree and say, well, I heard, this is what the president says, this is what Dr. Rachel Levine is saying, so you're closed-minded, you got to be more open-minded. And the parent realizes that they're isolated. They have no support.
Please subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to hear your comments regarding this matter, so please drop your comment in the comment section below. Remember to like, remember to share, and until next time, bye for now.